Welcome to ExJW Night Talk. It's Monday night, 4 p.m. here, Mountain Standard Time, Alberta, Canada. Snow on the ground still, but it was a full moon for the memorial last night. There was a lot of energy in the air, lots of energy, lot of energy. And we're going to talk about the energy and how that energy ripples out there. What happens to those ripples if they're not good? What happens? We're going to talk about that tonight. I want to first of all say hi to all you guys. And when we think of manifestation, you remember last year, it was about this time last year, you know, we got this anonymous email. It was anonymous. No one wanted to know, wanted their name. You know, we didn't see anything. We got this email, said, hey, we're going to do this Be Free. We got a license. So we started advertising it. Sure enough, it happened. A lot of people showed up. We couldn't cross the border. We would have been there. So we're going to do something different this year in Canada. We're actually going to do a road trip all the way across Canada. And we're going to stop in at as many assemblies as we can. And we're going to actually go out on some street witnessing, cart witnessing. And we have a whole big plan. We're going to launch that quick. It's happening. Things are rolling. And once we start to manifest as a community, and that's what's happening here, folks, we're manifesting as a community. And there's some things that are wrong with this religion. We were all in it. Most of us that are online here, we were all in it. And there's some issues with it. That's why we left. A lot of us just walked away, and then you get ostracized for that. So we know there's a lot of issues in it. Now, today we're going to focus on the children, because the children is what's really raising the red flag here in the world. And there's everything around the world. So it's important that we all keep putting the pressure on. And what I'm going to show you here is the, let me just grab this here, Letters for Change. I'll be showing this at all of my presentations. Letters for Change. Oh, I got to redo that. Sorry. I'll have to load the other screen. Stop screen. So I'll just get that up. Letters for Change. Where is that? Right there. Now, letters for change, you get to it exactly what it says, letters for change. And if you .info, we have a link in this descriptions of our video. There's all kinds of links, just so you know. There's Discord. It's a community that was created for all of us ExJWs. So we have a safe place to go without getting beat up by apostates, apostate JWs. They shouldn't be doing that, but they come in and beat us up. They beat us up on our videos, and so it's a safe place. You can go in there and talk. You can use swear words if you want. There's a venting room. Venting is so important. Letters for change. So we don't want to get off topic here today. There's a lot of links on our site. We invite you after the video, check them out. Letters for change is probably the most important one. And we all want to see change in this organization. So what are we doing as individuals? So letters for change, some anonymous person out there again that goes by the name of Janelle sent this in to us. And I thought it was just fabulous because I sent the letter out that day to my MP, Member of Parliament, and I got a reply back that day. Never before have I got a reply back like that. Now, of course, they're out of office, but it's an automatic reply. And then the next day, I threw 1,000 petitions on their desk. Over 1,000 petitions from Canada on their desk. So, and then all the links that Janelle did in this letter is just fabulous. So, folks, that's what we can do. And in the letter, you don't have to. You can actually put some of your own stuff in there. I did. And Janelle recommends it. What we want to get in there, and I, of course, did not grow up as a Jehovah's Witness, so I was not a youth. But maybe you were. And if you were a youth as a Jehovah's Witness, what were you forced to do as a young person? Slave labor, going and ringing those doorbells. We're going to look at this. We're going to look at today how JW.org is replying and lying, they both rhyme, and that's what they're doing, to the governments, to the governing authorities that manage charity status within religions. We're going to see how they are replying to the governments. So that's why, folks, we can watch all the videos we want, but until we make a letter to our Member of Parliament and put the story in, this is what I had to do when I was a youth, a young person. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to celebrate Christmas. I wanted to be with the other kids at school, but I was sent in the hallway. My kids had to sit in the hallway because the school didn't like this garbage. So they didn't get to go to a library. They had to sit in a hallway like they were bad, like they were in detention. That's torture on a kid. If that happened to you, put it in the story to your MP. My kids could put it in the story. I forced them. I was coerced, but I was brainwashed, and we're going to give, we're going to be gentle with all the Jehovah's Witnesses out there because we were all brainwashed that this was normal. We're going to look at what the Bible says. And is this normal? Are children supposed to preach? We're going to look at the Bible. That should be the thing we look at, isn't it? So we're going to look at that today. So letters for change, folks, get yours out. If you haven't done it, get it out today. Don't delay. And I've seen some really good comments here. I want to talk about the comments because there's a lot of ripple effects going on right now. It's amazing what's going on because of that broadcast. And Alice, she wondered right away. She was online. Thanks for being with us. Sequinto, home in a blanket, Ontario, Canada. I hope when we come across, we will be able to visit with you, have coffee. That would be great. Home in a blanket said, I was at the memorial last night and there wasn't many people there, in her opinion, or her opinion. Usually they're packed, not this year. And that's right. Usually they're packed out. There's a standing room. When I was a JW, you see, because your halls usually fit about 100 people. And there's, if everyone showed up for a meeting, you would use all your seats up, probably. You have a few spares that you can pull out. We used to take seats down. I was an attendant, so you'd always stack chairs up. And what we would do, what they made us do, is force people to sit at the front. Why do people not want to sit at the front at a Jehovah's Witness convention or these meetings? There's something wrong there, folks. If you want to be in the back and you don't want to really be seen, you know, or is it you don't want to be righteous, self-righteous, the elders and their kids sit at the front? I'm not sure, but no one wants to sit at the front. We used to have to take 2 rows of seats out to force people to fill up, and then we'd slowly put seats in for the latecomers. And that's how we used to do it. But it was always packed. There was standing room when I was, my last memorial was 2012. I don't plan on attending another one. I know some are brave out there. Some are going to memorials. New Zealand had a deadline for signing a petition to testify. Japan, I haven't heard much about that. Yeah, New Zealand. So we're going to talk a little bit about New Zealand. Hello, Sherry. Sherry corrected us on the memorial. It's actually April 22nd, I believe. The Passover, the real Passover. Why do Jehovah's Witnesses always have to be different? You know, they just want to be different. You know, even Good Friday, the way the Catholics and the rest of Christendom does it, they don't do it on the 24th. That's the 24th to Christendom, to Catholicism, is what is it called? I just did the video on it. Can you help me out here? Okay. The video, it's called, the Catholics call it, I put it on my thumbnail on that video on the memorial. They call it Palm Sunday. You see, the memorial date, I guess if Jehovah's Witnesses figures it out that way. But if you go by the Jewish calendar, there's 13 moons and there's 29.5 days between the moons. And I guess you got to figure out which one's Nisan. Which one's Nisan? Is it the moon March 10th, that new moon? Or is it April 8th, that new moon? You see? I don't know. But most of the world says it's April 8th. Therefore, 14 days later, you got your Passover. That's what most of the world says when I Googled it. But if you go by the calendar, where there's 13 moons in a year, the old Jewish calendar, that's how they did it. You know, they basically put a notch in the tree every time there's a full moon. That's your calendar. Okay. San Diego, hello. Nice to have you here. I love that, Sherry. How many people wasted their time in that man-made memorial? I agree. That's why I didn't do anything. I did not do anything memorial night. It was just another night. It's not my memorial. That's the JW memorial. I get out of that religion and I find out that they faked half the Bible. They might as well call it the book of JW, like the Book of Mormon, because they put Jehovah in the New Testament 237 times and it doesn't appear there. It's Kairos, it's Lord. But they said, well, it must mean Jehovah. No, it doesn't. It means Kairos. Why did you change it, jw.org? You see, they've muddied the name Jehovah. If you Google Jehovah right now, we're going to talk about that, the ripple effect. What's going on right now in the world? You Google Jehovah, it is negative. We're going to take a look at a video I did about a year and a half ago when I first started this channel. And when I did my research, I said, they got to change the name. Got to change this name. This religion is doing it wrong. You know, if you've been a Jehovah's Witness and you get out, yeah, you know, there's all kinds of things you start realizing. You start realizing these, it's just so simple. And you wonder, how did you get sucked in? But what you do, that's what conditioning and brainwashing, they call it. But it's just repetitiveness. When you repeat something over and over and over again, like the word truth, and that's how they do it. You see, because in our minds, we equate the word truth as the truth. And everything about the Watchtower Jehovah, it's all the truth. The elders, it's the truth. Well, we're going to look at the truth. The governing body gets up, and then they get up and say, well, we're not inspired. We make mistakes. We're infallible. But everyone still calls it the truth. It's a shame, eh? But when you get out, you can see it. When you're in there, you can't really see it. Marty, hello, Marty. I'm just at the bottom now. We have Marmy from Quebec. Maybe we'll get to stop in and see Marmy. And we have Eric. Welcome to the channel, Eric. We love your show. We like your batteryless tablet. That was pretty cool. You'll have to watch Eric's show to see he has a tablet that cost him nothing. Doesn't ever have to plug it in. It just keeps working. You'll have to go on to Eric's show, and he's on Rick Farron's channel, taking all kinds of calls. Some of the calls are pretty nasty. Marla, 1969. You passed yourself. Well, good for you, Maria. Good for you. Everyone should be taking the emblems. Everyone's Jesus brother. Right? So we have, I think we have everyone. Pa, howdy, Pa. Yeah, I always wondered who got to finish off the wine. I've tasted the wine after, and it's gross. It's gross. You want to dump that down the toilet. I don't know where they get that stuff at. Okay, we're going to get on to the show now. Thanks, everyone. Now, I was on a live. Some people I've seen in the comments, why do you have such long commercials and intros? And I was on another live of another video guy, and he's on there, and he says, yeah, I don't start my show until I have 1,000 people online. He's got 500,000 subscribers. And yeah, sure enough, after about 30 minutes, he just talks about all his books he wrote and talks about garbage. And then 1,000 people get online, he starts into his show. We're not going to do that. I never listened to the rest. I didn't really get much out of it. I just got lost. And then I found out that's what he does in all his shows. So we're not going to do that. We're going to get right into it here. There's 85 people on. That's really good. And I'm going to throw this up on the screen here. This I haven't. You guys might know these guys. These are Watching Watchtower. I haven't seen them around for a while, and we were worrying about them, and then all of a sudden they put out a video, and we're going to run with it. It's a good one. It's on Japan. It's on what's going on in Japan right now. And it's amazing the ripple effect that's going on in Japan. Japan, I think, they're not happy. They're just finishing off with this other cult. And they seized they're making new rules in Japan so that they can't sell off assets before they pay out victims. It's all about treating the victims fairly, and especially the children in Japan. So we're going to talk about that. What's going on in what's this one? This is New Zealand. What's going on in New Zealand right now? Well, they went to court, and we're waiting for the rest of the news. It's on abuse. It's the inquiry into abuse, and New Zealand's looking for apologies. All the other religions apologize. You see, what's standing out in the world is Jehovah's Witnesses are not apologizing. Do you remember that? And I play it on all of my videos. I'm going to play it here because it's so important to see if this is your first time, maybe you're Jehovah's Witness. Maybe because all of these updates you're online looking at some of this stuff, but let's just look at this here, just really quick. Yeah, here it is, doctrinal error. You see, they made their global statement here, right here. I'm going to turn my mic off.
And also, the governing body is neither inspired nor infallible. And so it can err in doctrinal matters or in organizational direction. Well, knowing this, then, we are not embarrassed about adjustments that are made, nor is an apology needed for not getting it exactly right previously. We understand this is how Jehovah operates. He reveals matters gradually when it is needed.
So he says an apology is not necessary, and they're not inspired. Like he said a lot there. That was on the annual meeting, and he pretty well said that right back to back. He's, but then on one hand, there's still the faithful slave. But then he comes on and says we're not inspired. You see, think about it this way, folks. If you're running a big business, a huge business, and JW.org is a huge business, it works. It sees $1 trillion. It can see that probably in their books. I believe that. They say that JW org is one of the richest religions in the world. Why? Why, you ask? Because they don't follow the Bible. We're going to see that. They don't look after orphans and widows. Remember in James 1, it talks about that right at the end, verse 29. A religion, if you're going to call yourself a religion, James says they should be looking after orphans and widows. JW org does not do that. So they become rich. People leave their estates. People believe that these leaders are real. But they're coming online now because now they're in a situation, they're in a very precarious situation right now, Jehovah's Witness leaders, because the world's coming in on them, like in Norway, and they're saying, look, you guys are doing this wrong. You guys made a lot of mistakes, how you're dealing with children. So they go out and tell their members to shred records. So that all came out, after the Australian Commission. Australia really went after them. A lot of cover-ups. When we were Jehovah's Witnesses, we were pointing our fingers at the Catholics. We never knew what was going on inside because it was all covered up. It was all hidden from the members. We thought it was all the Catholic Church. We thought we had the perfect religion. And that's what I thought. And I know everyone else thought that. But it's not. Today, it's so easy to see that name is dirty. It's a dirty name. So Jehovah's Witnesses in New Zealand, they don't want to apologize. So they're in court. The hearing date, Thursday, 21st, March 2024. So this has already happened. They're in court. So I don't have a lot of details on that yet. Thanks to JW Leaks on that one. Ron Pomo posted this. Jehovah's Witnesses softening up. Open to exclude members. The governing body no longer requires women. This is last year's assembly. They had to have skirts. So this whole article based on Norway, kind of. And we go down to the end here. And that's Ralph Feruli. And Ralph got that whole thing going there. Now, this is from the Vartland. This is right out of the newspaper, folks. This is a translation. And I'll blow it up here so you guys can see it. And this is the result in Norway. So this is says Ralph Feruli. They interviewed him. And everyone's interested. Why did they make all these changes? So Norway's commenting on it. The directive from the governing body applies all over the world. Nevertheless, we don't want to rule out the Oslo trial. It may have contributed to the practice now being somewhat softened. Oh, absolutely. It's contributed big time. This has contributed big time because, like I say, we have 1,000 petitions here in Canada. We want answers from our government here in Canada. We're going to become very vocal about this over the next few months. Now, what's going on here? He points out there's no change. There's no change. These are little, I don't want to use swear words online, but that's all that comes to my mind. You know what these changes are all about? Here's what I think about these changes. Well, let's run them on the meter here. That's what I think. That's what the meter thinks. It's BS. There's no changes. You can say hi to a disfellowship person when they walk into the Kingdom Hall, but then when they walk out, you better not say hi to them because they're disfellowshipped. They haven't changed anything. It's really showing that it's man's rule. Here's this guy, disfellowship, coming back. Maybe he comes back a couple of times, they reinstate him. I'm not sure what they're going to do next, folks. The ripple effect. So what's happening? There's no changes in this organization. There's no difference who is excluded, but those who have been excluded are treated slightly milder. So what's going on? So the branch office of Jehovah's Witness in Scandinavia has not had any opportunity to answer these questions. So they're going right to the branch. The news agencies are flooding into the branch. And they're saying, what the hell? What are you guys doing? Why are you doing this? What's next here? Jehovah's Witnesses take the Dutch state to court for discrimination. They're always taking everyone to court. Soon as the governments want to know a little bit about their religious practice, we're in court. You're breaking human rights. This is our you're discriminating. You see, folks, with our pressure, yours and mine, we go to our MPs, we write our letters, we put in there what we had to do as children. The truth will come out. You see, they can't keep lying. So what they do is they just take governments to court, and then they lie in court. We're not there. The courts don't know what you and I know, but it's changing, folks. It's changing. And Norway is an example. Because the ex-Jehovah's Witnesses are fed up. We're fed up with letting them lie in court. They lied through their teeth in Canada here about shunning. In the Supreme Court of Canada. And that has to be dealt with yet. So the Dutch branch of Jehovah's Witnesses has taken the state to court for discrimination, arguing it is unfair that the government only scrutinizes the way they had dealt with sexual abuse claims, not other religious groups. Well, every other religious group has apologized or doing payouts. Not Jehovah's Witnesses. We've seen their stand. These are big corporate guys running a business, and they're saying, holy shit. We're going to get our asses sued off. We're going to end up in court. We're going to end up in jail. So they have to come up and make a public statement and say, we're not inspired. We're not liable. We're just running a business. We're running a business, and it's those other jerks that were running this business, they didn't do it quite right. Jehovah didn't quite get it right back then. That's what he said. You and I heard that. Jehovah didn't get it right. Jehovah's changed things. He's blaming it on Jehovah. How they did it yesterday. It's not quite right. You can grow a beard. Nothing wrong with that. You can wear slacks. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to wear a tie and a jacket. There's nothing wrong with that. You can talk to disfellowship people. No, yeah. Well, at our meetings only. You can talk to disfellowship people. We talk to disfellowship. I talked to one yesterday at our meeting only. Shh. You see, that's what they're doing. They're not telling the whole truth in court. They just tell part of it. And they're going to continue to do that. So who's stopping this? You and I. We're putting the pressure on. That's what's happening. That's the change, is we're in the information age. And Jehovah says everything that is hidden will be revealed. Who are we trying to hide from here, folks? You see, what they would be better to do is sit down with the governing body. Here, let's just, where am I here? They'd be better to sit down in front of the world and say, hey guys, we're running this company now, and we realize that we're starting to wake up. We've been watching some ExJW flicks, and those guys woke up, and Ray Franz woke up. He was one of the first. Penton woke up. Yeah, you know what? We're changing. Got to change this religion today. It wasn't done right. Jehovah, you see, don't blame it on God. Blame it on man, Rutherford. If you want to blame it on someone, blame it on Rutherford. He hijacked the religion from Russell. He hijacked it. He threw out all of Russell's 27 books by 1925. He started writing his rainbow books. Long before that, he wrote 37 books. Rutherford, and he pumped them out to the world big time. The Truth book was another one that came out. It hit the Guinness World Book of Records. I was showing my wife this, and she says, how could you get sucked into that? And I said, well, in the 80s, if I went to the library and looked up Encyclopedia Britannica, Jehovah's Witness, it just shows, well, they're just a religion like all the other religions. Nothing. There was no Google. You couldn't plug this in and see what's going on in the world. It's all hidden. Everything was hidden up until this point in the world, after the virus, right about now. After 2012, there's a shift, some kind of a shift going on. Information age, we have internet all over the world. Now, Jehovah's Witnesses are growing, and they're growing in countries, and I've done the research, where there's only 50% of the people that have internet. Those countries are growing in, because it's like we're back in the 80s. We're in the dark ages. You remember back in the 80s? We had flip phones. That's all we had for a cell phone. We didn't even have text message. When I started my company, we had a beeper. just a beeper. And they'd beep you, and then you'd run to the nearest payphone. You'd have to drive until you found a payphone and plug a quarter in. And well, it was probably a dime back then, and phone the office. But now they did 800 numbers. But anyways, yeah, technology is different. You Google it, we're in the information stage, you can't hide. Everything that is hidden will be revealed. There's always an elder. That's a good elder. Most of the elders are. They're good people. They're looking and they're saying, hey, something's not right here. They're getting us to shred CSA records. Ooh, I don't know if I want to do that. I could go to jail. That's obstruction of justice. So he Googles it, eh? Holy smokes, he starts Googling it. Jehovah's Witness, CSA, shredding records. Then he sees that video that they pumped out. Maybe he didn't see it himself, but he sees it online and realizes, wow, something's not right here. So when you're looking at the religion today, something's not right here. Something's not right. We're not liable. We're not responsible. It's Jehovah's fault. You see, if they just sit down and say, guys, we're waking up a bit. Holy smokes, we got to start worshiping Jesus. We might as well change the name of this religion. We got to pull the children off the doorsteps. Children can't be preachers. This is garbage. This was Rutherford's encyclopedia sales using us all as distribution outlets. And did you know that Rutherford started? That's how he paid off as judge, going to law school. He was an encyclopedia salesman. So he learned how to do door-to-door. He was really good at it. And he was so good at it because he had to remember, he had to buy his way through law school. Then he had to hire a hired man to take his place on the farm. His dad was a real drill sergeant. His dad needed him. He said, no, you can't go to school. I need you on the farm. And Rutherford was smart. And so he was good, got a job with selling encyclopedias. He was a very boisterous, proud man. Everyone loved to listen to Rutherford. Like even if you didn't believe in Rutherford and you knew it was all BS, you'd still want to listen to him because he's such a dynamic speaker. Have you ever heard speakers like that? I'm sure we have. There's a lot of Rutherford type individuals that have, no one like Rutherford ever came about next. I don't think I've ever, it's not that I've seen Rutherford, but you read all about him, you can learn who he is. And it's an interesting study, Rutherford. So what's going on in the Dutch Parliament regarding that motion that's made? Well, what motion is made? Well, there's a motion that's made in the Dutch Parliament, and this is Van Nispen. We covered that on a video last week or something. So that's gone in. The abuse occurred within the communities. It's how they handled the it's everything. He covered everything. This is like when you go to a government. That's what we're doing. Everything has to be in there. The shunning. You see these business reps. Jeffrey Winder that got up for the governing body and made that statement. They're just business reps of this company, and they're basically telling the audience that they made some mistakes back then. It's sad that they're blaming it on Jehovah, but they should just call it mistakes that were made. We've changed. If they just sat down and said, we've changed our mind. It's been like a roller coaster on lots of things all through the years. We're doing everything wrong. We're going to throw out the elders book. We're going to change the religion. You guys can grow beards. We're going to get more into the Jesus stuff. We're going to change the name of the company, call it The Way. Jesus says, I'm the truth, I'm the life, I'm the way, right? And by the way, we're not the truth. It's Jesus. We all woke up, we all had a meeting, we all prayed about it. We didn't have to pray hard. It's all over the scriptures. Rutherford's been lying to us all along. We all got sucked in. Now we're going to change the religion. What would happen, folks, if they did that? I'd appreciate your comments. It'd be interesting if they would just be honest. I think they'd get away better if they were honest. That's what I think. Okay, we're going to go back. So there's not much. We don't have a lot to say on what's going on in the Dutch thing, but there was a vote in the Dutch Parliament, and the motion has been accepted and is passed. So this is happening all over the world, folks. Dutch Parliament, New Zealand, Australian already happened. It's happening all over the world. Norway, Japan, New Zealand. Yeah, it's just starting. So we got to keep the pressure on. We want to see change. It's going to come. Long-term effects. Let's look at this. Ripple effects, understanding the long-term consequences and defining the ripple effect. As human beings, we tend to focus on the present moment and immediate outcomes. So small actions. It's not that long of an article here, but small actions can have big impacts. Just like dropping a pebble into a pond creates a ripple. And so the small actions have big impacts. Doesn't take much, folks. One person, Ron Feruli, Norway, one person writes that letter into Parliament. That's why we're saying letters, write your letter. Everything's done for you. It's so easy. Write your letter, put your story in there. Maybe send in the initial part and put your story, my story's here. Maybe you have a big story. Maybe your story is 10 pages. Put it in there. And it's therapy. When you write your story, it's therapy. And you're sending it to the right person, your MP. They want to hear your story. They want to hear what's happening. So small actions, that's how we can keep the pressure on this org, this company. You see, because we want this company to come clean. We want this company to be honest with us and tell us that they woke up. So when you wake up and you realize that your vehicle has killed thousands of people, you got to do some payouts, do some insurance payouts. So they have that. Shunning has destroyed literally tens of thousands of people's lives, probably hundreds of thousands, could be in the millions. You see, the payouts could be so great, they've done their analysis on it, that it's going to crumble their company. The payouts may be so great that it'll crumble their company. And that's why companies hide. They hide these things. They cover them up, but they can't do it anymore. Even the big companies can't cover things up. We're in that day and age. Nothing can be hidden. You see, back in the days when we didn't have internet, we could hide lots of stuff because we didn't know. We could only do so much research. That guy got disfellowship. Well, yeah, he cheated on his wife. He got disfellowship. You think that's normal. That's how he should be ostracized for life. Because once he's disfellowship, he probably quit. Woke up, realizes it's all garbage, and he ends up getting disfellowship for life. It's not fair. You see, they have a lot of cleaning up to do, and that's a big one, the disfellowshipping. Shunning, it's huge. So the ripple effect can be positive or negative, and just as a positive action can create a chain reaction of positivity. I think that's what they were hoping for when they allowed ties and all this stuff. They were hoping for a chain reaction of positivity. And it's always a gamble when you're dropping a pebble into the big world of changing your company. What's the ripple effect? So you hope it's positive. Negative actions can also have a ripple effect that spreads outward. For example, spreading rumors about someone can lead to hurt feelings, damaged relationships, and even tarnished reputations, affecting not only the target of the rumors, but also those who hear them. So rumors are a bad thing. And as on these channels, we have a big responsibility to try to get the truth out, try to get the real facts out. And if we're building a satire, most of us put satire in there. It's a satire. So satires are just funnies, and no one takes them too serious, but they always have a lesson in them as well. So it's not about spreading rumors. So rumors, JW org is spreading rumors really about how you can talk to disfellowship people. They're spreading false rumors really, because you can't talk to disfellowship people. Unless you go to the Kingdom Hall and they show up at the same time, and they show up 5 minutes early at the Kingdom Halls. And then if you stood there and chatted with them, For a bit, I don't think so. We'll look at their video. It doesn't show that. It says they're very specific in saying you can make a greeting. Whoopee-dee, whoopee-doo. You can't stop and say, "Hey, Joe, how's work going? How's the kids? How's the family? How's this? What's going on?" You can't do that. You can just say, "Hey, Joe, nice to see you." And then you keep walking. That's what they're saying. And that's not association. You see, they're twisting it. So the ripple effect that they're putting out is not good. They're trying to put out they're trying to make it look positive, but they're not loosening up on what they should really be letting go of, and let go of this whole disfellowshipping thing. It's all bogus. If they had someone in the hall that was unruly, that came in and started, making a racket, well, you can get rid of those people. You can call the cops. Call the police. You can file a restraining order if they do it a couple of times. It's a religious gathering. You shouldn't be coming in and beating your wife up or something like that. And that happens. That happens. So the elders have to deal with this stuff, and they just disfellowship them. But you see, you throw away the disfellowshipping. Most of this stuff, if ever, can be handled with a restraining order if someone's unruly. And if people don't want to associate with people, they'll make that decision themselves based on their God-given conscience. No one should be told who and when they can visit with people. That's control. That's high control. And that's what we're exposing to the world. This cult is high control. The governments all know it, and they want us to back them. They need the petitions. Japan, all over the world. So if you're out there and you want to do something like this, you do it. You just get a petition going. Doesn't cost much. Doesn't cost anything. It's free. As we live in these countries, it's just like Watchtower. They got us to write letters for them. Watchtower was using us as their soldiers. Half the stuff we didn't know what we were fighting for. The ripple effect can be amplified by technology. So that's what's going on today. And the ripple effect can inspire change. And by understanding the power of the ripple effect, we can make some conscious choices that have a positive impact on the world around us. So could you imagine if the governing body, they're forced into a corner? They're going to have to apologize. They're going to have to admit that they woke up or something's going on. And they're going to have to make some serious changes. The world's demanding it of them, the ripple effect. They have such a negative ripple effect. I heard rumors they want to change their name. That's rumors that we're hearing. So I could see that. I would not want myself. I don't want to be anything to do with that name, Jehovah. I don't want anything to do with it. Yahweh's different story. Yahweh is actually the original name, but we're not Yahweh's witnesses. It's really about Jesus, and they know that already. So how are they gonna slide that in, like the frog in the hot water illustration that was given the other day? How are they going to slide that in so that the frogs in the water don't notice it? They're going to warm the water up slowly. That's what they're trying to do. But you see, right now they're in a predicament. They cannot warm the water up slowly. They got to turn the burner. They got to turn the heat up. And they got to start making no ties, no this. You can do beards. You don't have to count time. Look at all the changes they've made in a few short months. What's next? You see, we got to keep the heat going. Us. You and I. Get our letters in. The ripple effect can be positive or negative. Let's see if you can see that there. It's a good little chart here. So small actions can have a big impact. The ripple effect can be positive or negative. And the ripple effect can be hard to predict. So the ripple effect can be amplified by technology. And the ripple effect can inspire change. So that's what we see happening, folks. We see the ripple effect here. This encourages responsible behavior, help us make informed choices, helps us to plan for the future, and it prevents regret. So the importance of understanding the long-term consequences. So the ripple effect. I hope they did their research. This article gets into brain development, personality and behavior, socioeconomic status, did I say that right? And interventions. So these are all things that have to do with the ripple effect and how it shapes us. This is a big article. We're not going to cover this by any means, but I'll pin it in the thing for you. The impact of childhood trauma on adult well-being. Now, childhood trauma can have a significant impact on the individual's well-being in adulthood, and it's manifest in many ways. Sometimes, think of it this way: if we're programmed a certain way as a kid, and we get out of that religion, we might not be able to function properly in society. And that's why the organization JW.org, they beat it into us. If you leave, you'll never be the same. That's what they say. Yeah, you're not, because a lot of people deal with it differently. Substance abuse, some people even take their lives. They can't deal with the loneliness. This is the impact of shunning. Okay, we're going to move back in this. We're going to go to Japan. What's going on from Japan? And we're 47 minutes in. I got to look at the comments here. There's some new ones here. I probably missed some. The irony is elders say you can't go to the police on CSA to protect Jehovah's name. That's what they're doing. They still say that. And if they're not saying it today because they changed, we're going to look at a letter they're pumping out to the governments on kids. Here's one. I was an altar server in the Catholic Church as a kid, and once the Eucharist fell, I picked it up, and the priest scolded me in front of the whole congregation. I guess you can't touch that stuff back there, eh? I don't know why. My wife and I had that discussion. She said, "Are you even allowed to go on the stage in a kingdom hall?" And I don't remember any rules. I think worldly people could go on the stage. Pardon me? Yeah, non-GW and a baby on stage. I don't think it's like the Catholic Church. I've never seen it. There's no secrets in a kingdom hall that I've seen. I've been all over them, putting security systems in and all kinds of stuff. Oh, we got a star on here. Where's that? I missed it. I got to go back. Where are we? A lot of comments today. Well, I'm glad you guys are commenting. These are good. This is a good time to start talking about all of these changes that they're making, because it's yeah, I think it's the handwriting's on the wall. That's what I think. Here's one. Devin. Hello, Devin. Nice to have you with us. There we go. Yeshua is Yahweh's salvation. No other Messiah exists. Well, there you have it. It's coming from an expert. And when you get out of JW.org, it's good to actually go and look at, we want to be spiritual. We want to know that we're believing in something, perhaps, and perhaps not. It's really up to you. But if you want to be spiritual, there's all kinds of people out there that'll help you, coax you. You get to know them online here on these channels. Get into our Discord community. It's a little bit closed. There's ones in there that'll come in and help you with stuff, give you articles to look up, all kinds of things. There's all kinds of support, everyone. Okay, so we're gonna move on, and I'm gonna show you guys a video I did a while ago. Where is it? There it is, right there. A message from the government. This is a message from this is a satire I did about a year and a half ago. So a lot of you guys probably haven't seen it. I'm going to shut my mic off, play it. It's a 6-minute thing, and it gives me a chance to take a break here. We'll see you in a few minutes. I got to turn the music on for this one. I'll have to stop screen it and turn it back on. I don't think you guys could hear that, could you? Okay, entire screen. There, I got the music turned on. There, that should work now.
Brothers and sisters, welcome to our update. Since our last report, there have been some exciting developments. On May 31st, 2022, the governing body informed all branch committees that we would now resume all forms of our public ministry, except house-to-house work, around the world.
Welcome, brothers and sisters, to the worldwide organization of Jehovah's Witnesses. Today, we have some new lightning. This new lightning will change how the organization used to work. This new lightning will help us to be more in line with the way. Yes, Jesus is the truth, the life, and the way. So the new light is that Jesus is now the truth. Us Jehovah's Witnesses, we're no longer the truth. We will no longer use words like, I have the truth, or I'm in the truth. You see, friends, this makes all of us look like we're better than the rest, when really, we're all equal. So, with this new light, with Jesus being the truth, we will be introducing some new information. Each week, we will enlighten all you friends with some of this new information. One of the new pieces of information I think a lot of you are going to like is we are bringing an end to the preaching work. Yes, friends, we are bringing an end to the preaching work. Jehovah has finally told all of us, brothers, here at the Faithful Slave, that it's time to stop preaching. Isn't that something, friends? So here's what Jehovah's going to have us do.
Freedom of religion.
Jehovah's going to have us
and are protected
do something
by
else.
the right to freedom of religion.
According to Revelation
Among
verse
others, and are
18,
protected by the right to freedom of
Jehovah
religion.
is angry.
Among others,
The earth is hurting. And Jehovah says he's going to bring to ruin all those ruining the earth. So friends, now instead of getting together to go in the door-to-door ministry, the elders will be organizing tree planting episodes. And we'll be working with the governments in each of the lands. You'll see new information coming out as this is rolled out. And we will have a whole bunch going out and planting trees, yes. And this will be completely financed by the organization because of all the trees that we knocked down over the last 150 years. We've knocked millions of trees. In fact, some estimates are in the billions. Rutherford himself printed 400 million copies of his own books, and that was way back then. Brothers and sisters, friends and families, we're all guilty. We're all guilty. We've been getting in our cars and putting gasoline into the atmosphere every time we go out into the preaching work. So, we are stopping the preaching work. Isn't that good news, friends? Imagine all the carbon that we're going to save from not hitting our atmosphere. Some of the studies that have been done is that we are putting a lot of carbon into the atmosphere. In fact, some of the studies are saying that we're the #1 religion. We're the biggest carbon polluters out of any other religion out there. So friends, we are going to make a difference. Yes, you and me are going to change things. We are going to go out and plant trees. We're also going to be working with our municipalities and governments, and we're going to be helping to clean highways. We're going to make a big difference. You will see Jehovah's Witnesses on the street corners helping the homeless now. We will have little areas we will be handing out socks and different things for the homeless, depending on where they're at, countries. We will be doing what Jesus was doing. Yes, friends, this is going to change a lot. The brothers in the organization, the faithful slave, is looking at changing the name from Jehovah's Witnesses to the Way, so we can be imitators of Christ. Isn't that great news, brothers? Well, you stick with us, and we have some great news coming up. We have some other exciting news. So just stick with us, friends. But everything that Brother Loesch has said, forget it. That's all old news. Everything now, we have new light. Everything is changing. We're going to break it out for all of you friends. Stick with us, and we'll be sharing this with you as we move.
We dearly love each one of you. From the world headquarters of Jehovah's Witnesses, this is JW Broadcasting.
Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that. That was a little satire we did back about 1.5 years ago. So how much of that has come true? Well, there is talk that they're talking about changing the name. There's talk, well, you don't have to preach really. You can just check the box. Maybe you talk to someone on the bus going to work. Hey, yeah, I'm a Jehovah's Witness. Here's a business card. You're done. Check the box. Done. That month is done. So there's really no more preaching work unless you want to be a minister, a pioneer or something. That means you want to be a minister. That's a move in the right direction. Are they helping the communities yet? No. Helping orphans and widows? No. Planting trees? No. Cleaning highways up? You see, if you could imagine if they could adopt a few more things as an organization, shut down the preaching work because it's garbage. It's let the pioneers do it. Let the ones that want to be ministers do that. And we're going to show you why that's important. I want to pull this up. I can look right in the Jehovah's Witness Bible. It's right there. Let's pull that up big here. And blow it up too, so you guys can see this. If all scriptures is inspired of God, then why do we not talk about this scripture? It's right here in the letter of James. It says, not many of you should become teachers. Not many of you should be teachers, my brothers, knowing that we will receive a heavier judgment, you see. If you're a teacher, if you're an elder, you want to be a teacher, you're an elder. You're a teacher. Now, you see, if you're a Jehovah's Witness, you're a teacher. If you're a 13-year-old child, you're a teacher. But here it says not many of you should become teachers, my brothers. But that's not what JW.org says. What do they say here? Right here. Right here. And they say, do Jehovah's Witnesses have a paid clergy? It's a real short article. Following the model of first century Christianity, Jehovah's Witnesses have no clergy or laity division. So then why are they fighting for clergy penitent privilege when it comes up to CSA cover-ups? It's all out in the open, folks. Like anybody out there should be asking these questions if you're in the organization, if you're going to meetings still. Jehovah's Witnesses have no clergy, they're saying. But what they're saying all baptized witnesses are ordained ministers. All of yous, all of us, we're all ordained ministers, whether we like it or not. You are a minister. And is that not what a teacher is? A minister, a teacher? And well, it says it right here. You share in the preaching and the teaching work. If you're 13, you're a minister. You're an ordained minister. 13 years old. Witnesses are organized into congregations of about 100 believers. And I use 13 because that's when I pushed my kids to get baptized, 13. I told them, You want to get your, in Canada here, you can get a learner's driver's license, at 14. 14. I wouldn't let my kids get a driver's license, learners, until they were baptized. That was undue pressure, folks. That was going, it was a virus going on in the congregation. I was just copying what other elders were doing. I thought it was good at the time. You see, when you're in it, you think it is, but you think that your kids are all ordained ministers. They're all supposed to be teachers. Or if you don't get baptized to become an ordained minister, you're not going to make it. Back then, you wouldn't make it. I think it's still kind of like that. Witnesses organized into congregations, blah, 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 and they do so without payment. They're organized, they're really, if they don't want to call them ministers, they're encyclopedia salesmen. So right now they're handing out business cards and they're selling the JW.org website. But the Bible clearly says, and any Bible, who is qualified to teach? That's another question. You go down there and, there's some big qualifications to be a teacher. Older women are good teachers too. Older men, older women. That's what it says. Older men, older women, people that have had families, people that have raised kids. They are the teachers. That's what the Bible says. It says an overseer must be. It doesn't say could be. It says must be above reproach, the husband of one wife. Does that mean the overseer, if you're looking at an overseer, they should be married, really? They should have that experience. It's kind of what I'm reading. If you're looking for, that's an overseer, right? But maybe not a preacher. Or is it the same thing? I think it's the same thing. Now, women should keep silent in the church. Yeah, see, that's not flying. That's not flying. And that's Paul. That's what Paul said, right? Well, who's Paul? Paul didn't get married. Paul didn't have a wife. But yet Paul said that. You see, when I read the Bible, folks, these are men like you and me, inspired, they're inspired of God. Now, Paul apparently had a vision, seen Jesus. Jesus is quit killing my Christians and go out and do the opposite. So he did. Paul was very, like Rutherford, Paul was a very flamboyant, powerful person. Rutherford couldn't bear a wife. A wife couldn't live with Rutherford. Paul didn't get married. I look at people as people. I don't care who they are. Russell's wife left him. Couldn't stand him. Russell was kind of a little bit, he had a thing going for that girl at the Bethel. And she lived with them and stuff. But anyways, these guys had women problems. Paul, in my opinion, had women problems. He couldn't, he wasn't married. In my opinion, it says here, an overseer must have a husband of a wife. How come Paul didn't have a husband of a wife? But yet he's the guy that says women should keep silent. You see, we got to look at this stuff, folks, with common sense. Who's speaking here? I don't take everything verbatim, and neither do Jehovah's Witnesses, because if Jehovah's Witnesses took everything verbatim, then why aren't they following this? Not many of you should become teachers. Why aren't they promoting that? Why are they just brushing over that part of the scriptures? Because it suits their encyclopedia sales, folks. That's why. And in fact, they go to this extent. Let's look at this. Here's the extent they go to this is what is this, like a minute, 2 minutes? Here's what they're getting this is what they're training infants, kids on doing right here.
Morning comes, soon we will be on our way to preach good news. But it's dark outside and the rain starts to fall. It would be easy to stay inside, sleepy-eyed. Positive thoughts and preparation
Okay, sorry about that. So this video up until halfway, it's raining outside, you're inside. What do you do with your kids? You put on your raincoat and you go out in the preaching work with a waterproof tablet. This kid, this is a young kid, folks. This is how JW.org, this frustrates me. This is how JW.org is programming their people through the kids. This is their next generation, folks. And we're going to look at what they're telling the governments about kids. Now, when you were a Jehovah's Witness, remember going to the groups, the groups I did with my kids. I only had 2 kids, but some families had 7 kids, or one of our book study overseers had 7 kids. And I remember always having to take his kids in my vehicle because he couldn't hold them all at times, and because he'd want to take other people and stuff. He was an elder, and elders are supposed to work with everyone in the group, is what they're instructed to do. So yeah, a lot of his kids would be shuffled around in the group. People would take them. Sometimes my kids would go with other elders, and their kids, sometimes not elders, just people, just other publishers. Well, they're all ordained ministers. Come on, what could go wrong? We're all under Jehovah's umbrella. What could go wrong? You see? And you think of kids. This kid here, he's an ordained minister, no doubt. You know, they're encouraging kids to get baptized, 13 years old, and some younger, but 13 is way too young to even, you know, they're not even, kids aren't even in puberty. And this kid's going out and teaching that man about how to run a family, how to be a minister. He's ministering. You see, that kid's an encyclopedia salesman. That kid's a robot. That kid's an instrument for the Watchtower. That kid is an encyclopedia salesman that's not paid, programmed from birth to believe that he's doing God's work. And we looked at the Bible. The Bible says not everyone is cut out to be it. And if they are, they should have went, they're well beyond puberty. They married kids. You know, even the Apostle Paul. Yeah, so let's not buy into everything. But this is what Watchtower is doing. We're going to play the rest of the video here. I'm going to get off the screen.
Joy come our way if these things we keep in mind, and Jehovah sees every effort we make, and he remembers the love we show. This we know. Positive thoughts and preparation, praying that we'll succeed. This can provide the inspiration we'll surely need. We're not alone, the angels guide us. Jesus commands them all. And with a loyal friend beside us, we'll never fall.
Okay, well, sorry about that, guys. I hated to put you through that. But we got to get that out. We have different people, even government people, looking at a lot of these ExJW websites. This is what they're training the kids to do. Now, I can go back in that video. Where is it here? Yeah, right there. They were training the kids right here, all the various aspects of the ministry. Did you get all that? So door to door, there's your door-to-door ministry. The guy's really happy, took the brochure, you know, that's what they're going to train the kids on. This is like sales 101 for 13. Like, this kid doesn't even look 13 years old. These little JW kids in this pictures look like they're 7 and 8 years old. I don't know what you guys think in the comments, but those don't even look like 13-year-old kids. Now, then we go here, the ladies waiting, what's going on? You remember that? Having a little picnic out in service. We used to do country territory, and you try to get your kids to go out for more than just a couple of hours in the morning. we're going to have lunch out in the territory. So we'd go out in country territory and we'd do a tailgate lunch, and you try to make it exciting, but the kids are not happy. My kids were not happy. These kids, they're painting them as happy. They're programming these little robots to say, and if you're a little kid and you're watching these cartoons from infancy, by the age of 7, you're hypnotized. You see, we know that in the world because we study the brain. We know how the brain works. So from the age of 1 to 7, you're hypnotized. Just automatically, we're hypnotized. So in our subconscious, we learn our language, we learn all the customs in our culture. And if we're in a closed-knit cult, we learn that this is normal. This is how it is. You're programmed, age 7. Watchtower knows this. They want the parents programming the kids. And if you can get the kids watching TV, they pacify the kids. They throw on these cartoons. These are cartoons. But these folks are serious programming. These are not cartoons. We want everyone to know that. So they make it look fun, a tailgate party, and it's all about the ministry. Here he is and they got the kid doing the call, being the minister. There's another one out with mommy. It's all about the ministry. They all have tablets. That's got to be expensive, buying your kids tablets. I don't know, but tablets are expensive depending on the tablet that you buy. So but this, we can see that this is sales. I'm just going to move out of there. And we see the sales as it's a sales company, folks. So these guys are not inspired. They're selling their religion. Children, not many of you should be teachers. Put that on. Now, I got another article I want to take you to. It's right here. We did the little kids, and there's a lot of them, by the way, folks, on these kids movies. Just looking online here. It's all kids movies. Look at that. Preach the word right there. Preach the word, and preparing to preach. We just seen that one. Where's some more? Preparing to preach. Preach to all sorts of people. And preach the word, like it's all about preaching. This is a sales company. So change preaching with sales, because these kids aren't preaching, folks. They're not teachers. They're not ministers. They're kids. And they should be out playing. They should be playing with other kids. Dad should be taking the kids fishing. Moms could take the girls somewhere, do stuff, mom stuff with girls. Family stuff. You can do family stuff too. Go canoeing or something, go to the lake. But no, they got them doing this, preparing to preach. Kids don't want to be preaching. None of my kids wanted to be preachers. I don't know about you guys. I wasn't raised in it, so it was different. So do Jehovah's Witnesses have a paid clergy? No, the kids are their clergy, but they're all salespeople. The kids, everyone that's ordained. You see how against. Now, here's what I want to show you guys. This is I'm going to go back here because I want to show you where this comes from. Okay, let's go right back to home. A lot of people miss this, and I've seen this on Goat-like Personality today. And I thought it's good to share that. So if you go right to the Jehovah's Witness website, this is what you have. You go right to the bottom, all the way to the bottom on this website. Make it smaller here on the screen. So when you go to the bottom, there's all this little writing. Now I'm going to blow it up here. Here's what the writing says. Can you see that? It says, did I blow it up too much? Probably. Okay. Let's try this again. I blew it up too much. Okay, let's just do it on normal. All the way at the bottom. Okay, you see it there? Information for government officials. I did have it right. I just didn't see where it was. Information right here for government officials. So you click on that. And up comes this big thing here. So you click on global information brochures right up here. Your government, right? You're going in there to check this religion out. You see, government's not supposed to get involved in religion. So religion can put a portal. All the religions do this. They're supposed to put a portal on their websites or charities, right? They want handouts. They're begging for money from the governments. So they have a portal on all their religious websites, Mormons, Catholics, everyone. And this is their portal for governments. And this is the place that governments are allowed to go to. Do you see how this works, folks? You see, because there's freedom of religion, the government's not allowed to go anywhere else or use anything else on that site. They're only allowed to use what they say they can use. Up until yesterday. It's not flying anymore. But here's what they're telling the governments they can use. You go all the way to the bottom. Jehovah's Witnesses scripturally based position on child protection. We're gonna pull that up. It's a download PDF. I pulled it up, and I'm gonna blow it up here for you. So there's what it looks like. It's like a legal contract. It's like litigation. It's like going to court. It's what reminds me of looking at court stuff or elders' letters. Jehovah's Witnesses scripturally based position on child protection. So they define it. They define the child protection: physical abuse, sex abuse, emotional abuse. Then they say children's sacred trust, the protection of children is the utmost. Jehovah's Witnesses abhor child abuse. In all cases, victims and their parents have the right to report accusation of child abuse. It does say that in their elders book, but they don't push it. That's what it says and what they do is two different things. And when number 5, when the elders learn of an accusation, they immediately consult the branch. When someone breaks into the Kingdom Hall, they immediately consult the branch? No, they call the police. You see, that's a crime. When someone comes into the Kingdom Hall and starts causing a disturbance, and who knows, maybe it's a disgruntled husband. I've seen that. So disgruntled husband and starts swearing and hollering and runs up and grabs the mic and tells the elder where to F and go. I've seen that. They call the police. They don't call the branch. It's a crime. That guy is disturbing peace, right? It's going to get charged. They're going to file a charge, JWs. But when elders learn of an accusation of child abuse, a crime, this is criminal. They immediately consult the branch. We don't buy it. You see, we know, ex-Jehovah's Witnesses know. The governments don't know. Even if elders have no legal duty to report to the authorities, the branch office will instruct elders to report the matter if a minor is still in danger. This is tricky wording. This is not what goes on. They will instruct elders to report the matter if a minor is still in danger of abuse or if there's some other valid reason. See, this is where they take the truth and they just twist it a bit. They just curve it a bit. They throw a curve in it, and it's all in the wording, folks. This is litigation. Elders also ensure that the victim's parents are informed. And if the alleged abuser is one of the victim's parents, the elder will inform the other parent. Why not just let the police deal with this? And there's healthcare workers. Like, there's all kinds of help on the other side of the fence. These elders aren't trained in this stuff, folks. This should be out of the elders book. It should be. It's like when there's an arson, someone lit a fire in your Kingdom Hall. You call the police. You call the fire department. They come here. It's out of your jurisdiction. You stand back. Now the fire department comes in and they analyze it all. They now control the situation neutrally. And they want to find out who did it, who's guilty. They want to stop other arsons from happening. It's not what goes on in the Kingdom Hall. This is a crime. This is hush over. You see, you report crimes, you let the police deal with it, and there's healthcare workers on the other side because this organization doesn't have family counselors. Could be a woman running it, right? That's wrong. Apostle Paul says women shouldn't teach. What does Paul know, right? But yet, we see in other places in the Bible, anybody can teach, but not everyone should teach or is capable of teaching. But it does say that women teach. And I could show you that in another scripture. We're getting off topic. Now, parents have the primary responsibility for protection. So, yeah, throw it on the parents. Someone breaks into our kingdom hall. You don't throw that on the members. You go to the police. It's a crime. And you get parents involved. You do it properly. This is have a direct and active involvement in their children. Yeah, it's just basic stuff. If you weren't out preaching with your kids all the time, you'd have more time to go and do some stuff with your kids. Go fishing, go to the lake, and do the chores. Let's mow the grass first, kids, and then we're all going to go to the lake. It takes half hour to mow the grass. Okay, where is it? Congregation of Jehovah. They do not. Okay, here's the biggest lie, folks, and we're going to not do a whole lot more here. Congregations of Jehovah's Witnesses do not separate children from their parents for the purpose of instruction or other activities. BS. This is what you guys want to put into your letters. This is, I'm showing you where to get this off their website, the PDF. And this is what they're telling your government, your MP. And you got to tell your MP that this is BS, because I've segregated my children. You've segregated your children at service arrangements. We all have. And then what about when your kids getting baptized? They got to spend all those evenings going to the elders, different elders' houses. They make them go to different elders, 3 elders' houses, to go over different parts of the baptismal questions, so that 3 elders, like a body, can see that they're an ordained minister. Like, what a bunch of BS, right? But that's what they do. That's their criteria. Your kids are separated. Your kids are in the houses, in private rooms with 1 elder and your kid. You're not there. I wasn't there. This is a lie. For example, our congregations, it says here, and this is a big thing to admit for these guys. For example, our congregations do not provide or sponsor orphanages. They don't provide or sponsor orphanages, Sunday school, sports clubs, daycare centers, youth groups, or other activities that all the other religions do. You see, they don't do any of that. Nothing. All the other religions have daycares and stuff like that. And they help families out. They really, and they use women. Women, this whole thing that Jehovah's Witnesses don't use women. Now, I'm going to move back to the Bible. Who is qualified to teach? If any one of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, and it will be given to him. Okay, I want to go to James. That's what we're talking about, James in the Bible. Now, if we look at James about orphanages, we're talking about orphanages there. And if we go to the very end of the James 1, we'll see right here, 26. If anyone thinks he is religious and does not bridle his tongue, but deceives his heart, this person's religion is worthless. And then it says religion, here's the point, religion that is pure and undefiled before God, the Father, is to what? To visit orphans. Now, if we look at some other translations on that word visit means more than just stopping in and say, hi, orphan, how are you doing? Visit actually means helping them. The word visit, it means administering, helping, sustaining orphanages. That's what that means. Visit, looking after orphans and widows in their affliction. That's what a religion is. That's what it says right in the Bible. Right in the Jehovah's Witness Bible says the same thing. So when I see this over here saying that our congregations do not sponsor orphanages, they don't even look after their own orphans, their own widows. They don't look after Bethelites that have spent their whole life in Bethel and they're old. They just kick them out. They're done. They don't have retirement homes for them. They've given everything they have to the Watchtower, preaching from infancy. Many. There's nothing for them. And they're saying it right here to the governments. We don't do any of this stuff. This should be a red flag to the governments. Why are we keeping this religion as a charity? They don't do anything. But they do leave their kids. Kids are not always with their parents. They can lie about this all they want, but you've seen how many videos on the preaching work. It's all about preaching. And those kids are going to be in the preaching work with other people. And there's so many reports I've read off of this channel online about kids that were molested in the cars with ministerial servants and others when they were young in the ministry, going to and from homes, traveling, getting rides, meetings. It always happens. So elders split groups up. Elders sit in front of the congregation. Okay, we're going to send your kids. You don't mind, we'll send your kids over there. Lots of times they don't even ask. They just, okay, because they're all baptized, ordained ministers, right? If you're a baptized, ordained minister, they could send you over there, over there. They won't send kids out in the ministry by themselves, but it's not uncommon, and I've seen it, to have a group of kids, 19, 17, 15s and 14-year-olds in that group, all out going out in the ministry together, a group of young people, bunch of kids together. Might be a brother that could be a ministerial servant, but you could be a ministerial servant at 17, 16 even, 17, 18, for sure 18. But there's no rules of age on that. And as long as you have that title, you are trusted automatically. And it's easy to become one. You just have to be an elder's son, and then you'd automatically be a ministerial servant pretty quick. I've seen that so many times. But if you're really trying to be one, it's going to be hard unless you're hooked up, unless you got connections, and you got to have people on your side. You got to kind of play the thing. This is a company. This isn't real. Okay. They say child abuse is a serious sin. If it's determined that one's guilty, is repentant, remain in the congregation, restrictions are imposed. Did they do an announcement? No announcement. They can stay in the congregation. Like if you're guilty of being the abuser and you're repentant, you can remain in the congregations. Restrictions are imposed on your activities. They're going to watch you. They're supposed to watch you, but they don't watch you. You know, if out of jail, if there's a CSA, child molester, that moves into your community, you're made aware of it. The Kingdom Hall is made aware of child molesters that move into their territories, so they can, and they put it right on the territory card that this is to be handled by an elder. I don't know if they put child abuse on there, but they're made aware of it. The police make everyone aware of this stuff, but the congregation hides it. There's not, you don't know if there's a child abuser amongst you. You don't know. They even admit that right here. Yeah, they're saying that the elders are not to be alone in a company with children. They're not to cultivate friendships with children or display affection with children. Elders may inform parents or minors within the congregation. So it sounds like now elders they're supposed to inform the congregation if a child molester is one of their members. They're supposed to inform them privately, but they won't do it publicly. There's no public thing. But if there's a child molester, they'll publicly put it on the territory. People get to know why. Yeah, oh yeah, it's a child molester out there. The police phoned the congregation and told us. But you see, if the child molester's in the congregation, his house isn't on the territory as a do not call because he's a child molester. I don't think so. This is where they're taking this and twisting it. They're not saying the whole thing here. A person who is engaged in CSA does not qualify to receive congregation privileges. That's kind of new. It says for decades, but that's not true. They're twisting here. We can show you, but governments aren't allowed to go into our archives because we're a religion. It's protected by the clergy penitent privilege. They don't want to be clergy, but they want that privilege. So it says this document's available upon request to congregants. It is viewed at least once every 3 years. And there's their references. And that's what they give the government. Okay. I'm going to close that. Okay, so there you go. You can find it there. It's right on their website, but it's hard to find It's in that small print right at the bottom. Right down here. In case you weren't on the show earlier. Right at the bottom here, information for governments right here. There's lots of stuff. And that's what the governments are allowed to look at and judge the organization by. So the only way the governments are going to get the truth, the real truth, is if you send your MP a letter. So again, I'm going to bring that up. Letters for Change. The link is in the descriptions below in this video. So Letters for Change, you want to get your letter in. And that's how we're going to keep the pressure on folks. Be Free 2024. I heard some talk about that. That's going to keep the pressure on. Okay, I wanted to go back to this article. I didn't have a chance to really cover it well. And I wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on in Japan. So this is in the news. It's the FNN news. And it comes right out and it says, this is what the news agencies are saying, folks. Jehovah wants you to come back. Are Jehovah's Witnesses relaxing their doctrine? Obtained internal documents. What is happening with the cult that is drawing criticism? So you see, there's your ripples, folks. It's negative ripples. The cult has negative ripples in Japan and all over the world. The video released by Jehovah's Witnesses is a new Christian religion on March 15th is causing controversy among its followers. So a video released by Jehovah's Witnesses, a new Christian religion, on March 15th is causing controversy. Is that what they released in Japan? Now, while doctrines such as shunning and disfellowship, which prohibit relationship with those who have left the cult, are being viewed as problematic worldwide, one of the cult's top executives has released a video to ease such a doctrine. And then he declared, while some believers welcome the relaxation. So this guy that they're talking about is here. Where is it? Do we have it loaded here? It's the, I'll just go right back and get it. It's the, they're referring to, it doesn't sound like they're referring to the same thing, but it's the governing body talk that we just heard. So you come here, what's new? This is where I get it. It was just done right here. Sanderson with his beard, right here. So here he is.
Welcome to our update.
Now I'll just let that play in the background there. Okay, so oh, I can't read this article now. Okay, well this is the broadcast that they're talking about in that news article. Okay, so we'll go back to it. Well, some believers welcome this relaxation, criticism, distrust remain deep-rooted. FNN, the news company, they obtained internal documents distributed to the leaders of the cult in Japan after the video was released. And we interviewed what is happening with the religious group that have been criticized for human rights violation. So if you don't know, in Japan, this article actually gets into a lot of this. And in Japan, there's a whole human rights thing going on. And it's all the second generation children coming out that are filing the complaint. So it's us. ExJWs Witnesses is like us going to our MPs here in Canada and the US. It's like Ron Ferrulli going to the government in Norway. It's like Stitchen going to Denmark, to the Dutch government. He wrote the letter. He got that all in there. All of these ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, they're bringing this forth. That's why we're hated. But it's important. We're actually doing a hero's journey. We're helping people. It's like being good neighbor. If you're driving along and hey, that's a Jehovah's Witness in the ditch, stranded, car's all wrecked. It's winter out. Are you going to stop? Of course you're going to stop. You know the person. You recognize them. You recognize their vehicle. You're going to stop. You see what we're doing? It's a good neighbor thing. We're not Jehovah's Witnesses. We're X, but we're going to stop out of love for that neighbor because they're stranded. You see, when people come out of the organization, they're stranded. They're alone. They have no one. So we have these communities, and everyone's building them online communities. And now there's ones going around and meetups, all kinds of meetups. Joe and Fran are doing meetups. If you want to get involved in meetups, come on to our Wednesday night show. You can even tell your story. And that's a 4-hour show, by the way. And Joe and Fran are on the road right now, and they're doing meetups. So this is all happening, folks, all over the world. This is happening. JW.org does not like it. They sued the Spain Association. They formed an association. You don't have to form associations. We can all just be good neighbors and meet up. We don't need associations to do this. But if your association, they'll sue you. They're very litigious. They do not want us helping, being a good neighbor to the ExJWs, helping them, giving them a helping hand. They don't want us doing that. They want to punish those that are being shunned. And this is where what we're fighting for, folks. This is part of the wrongdoing. This is what's against human rights. And this is this fella here in Japan, former elder, Kieda Neo, that's a pseudonym, but he's a former elder, and he's doing the same thing that Ron Feruli is doing in Norway, Stitchen is doing in Dutch. I'm not sure who started the Australian stuff and the New Zealand stuff, but it's ExJWs, because they come out and they're shunned and they're lonely, and it just, why is this right? Why is this right? So the place to go is our members of parliament. We all have stories. All these stories are coming out. There's all kinds of stories here. The second generation in Japan, the Bible hasn't changed. So why do the doctrines change? This is what people are asking. The Bible hasn't changed. And how can they blame this all on Jehovah? You know, all these stories are coming out. People are talking about everything. So will the doctrine be changed in response to a lawsuit? A lawyer with Jehovah's Witnesses issue support lawyers group commented on Moving and saying the church has lost multiple lawsuits overseas, and there is a case. So there's precedents in which religious groups have won cases by claiming freedom of religion. But in early March 2024, Norway, they're quoting Norway already, folks, in Japan, this is a Japan newspaper, it says a religious group sued the government after having its government subsidy canceled. And in a court of first instance, a case was filed in which a religious group filed a lawsuit against the government and became a point of contention. And the cult has lost the case. Isn't this anticipation of the possibility that there will be a series of similar trials in other countries in the future? Attorney Tanaka said, this move, which appears to be easing, may be nothing more than a ploy, and we need to pay close attention to how it will be implemented in the field. And furthermore, the problem is not just avoidance, but blood transfusions. So not only disfellowshipping, blood transfusions, many remain, including bans and child abuse. So this is all coming out. Domino effect. That's what I see, a domino effect. Okay, well, folks, that brings an end to our program today. That's all the information I have. That's all the news, but all over the world, Japan, New Zealand, Dutch, it's all happening. The domino effect is happening, and let's keep let's keep the pressure on. It's up to you and I to keep the pressure on. We can do our part. And again, letters for change.info, the link is in there. The letters are all done for us. And it's nice to get your story out. I felt good getting a little bit of my story out. And I felt really good. It was like an inside healing when you get a reply back. That was nice. And I heard some others online saying that they put their letters in, they're getting replies back. It feels good. So we want to get that out there. Keep the pressure up, folks. You're doing a great job. I want to look at some of the comments maybe. We have some good comments. Cheers, Marty. Absolutely. Cheers. Keep up the good work. Okay. Well, what do we want to do for an outro? What did Beverly say? She's talking about some MPs. Your baby. Oh, that was something else. I thought you were talking about the members of parliament. Okay, so we're going to close the program here today with this.
And also, the governing body is neither inspired nor infallible. And so it can err in doctrinal matters or in organizational direction. Well, knowing this, then we are not embarrassed about adjustments that are made, nor is an apology needed for not getting it exactly right previously. We understand this is how Jehovah operates. He reveals matters gradually when it is needed.
It's time for us to go. We entered the farmer's market one last to say our goodbyes. Nina wished us much confidence in our new journey ahead as we disappeared through the mist, but this time to a new land. To be continued in Book 3, Finding Purpose. It's not over yet. Okay, the doctrinal error, we keep that in mind. There's no apologies necessary. But I think if you're running a company and you want positive ripple effects, and you're running a big corporation, they've made some mistakes in the past. Wouldn't the right thing be to come out and say, you know what, we have made some mistakes. We are sorry. It's caused a lot of damage, and here's the changes we're going to make. You see, if you rolled your religion out like that in an honest fashion, I think they would have positive ripples. But when they try sliding in all these twists, and they try hiding, and then they throw these disclaimers out, it's really confusing a lot of us out there, and a lot of people are leaving because a lot of people are confused, and it's just not making sense. So you don't have to quit believing in the Bible or any of that stuff, but there's no one truth on this earth. There's no such thing. You see, the truth is inside us. We can find it, and we'll figure it out. We'll figure out what the truth is for us, what works for us. And if we're following the Bible, if we choose to follow it, and we follow Christ, well, it's really simple then. Just love your neighbor. It's that simple. You see, you can't make money off that, and it's hard to even really make a religion out of that and have buildings and all these things, if that's all you got to do, love your neighbor. You see, it says if you don't love your neighbor, you can't love God, because that's part of loving God is loving your neighbor. That's how it works. So we can't love our neighbor when we shun them. We can't love our neighbor when we tell them, well, you should die. Don't take the blood transfusion. Just die. Just die. That can't be loving. How could that be loving? You see, Jesus set the example. He said, throw away the laws. He told the Jews, he grew up in a strict household, a lot of religious laws. And he said, it's not for me. He showed a different way. In fact, he went into the temple and turned money tables over. He said, and took a whip. He didn't hit anybody with the whip, but he cracked the whip and chased out the money changers. He said, the hell if you're using my father's house. I don't know if he used that word, but he was upset. You could see it in the words. And that's in two accounts. That's not just one account. And the Pharisees, the elders, the governing body, they're the Pharisees. They're the ones that have went apostate. You see, they're the ones that are apostate. They've apostatized, just like in Jesus' day. They apostatized, and he exposed them, turned over their money tables. And that's what we're doing. We're just helping out the ones that are leaving. We're being good neighbors. People are coming out of that organization. I started this channel just trying to fix my faith. And then I seen that, well, we can help a lot of people out. We get a lot of comments. You've helped me out. You helped me out. So the community needs these little things. So we have the ability to do it. So we're using our talents in the best way that we can use them to help our neighbor. And that's what everyone can do. You see, that's really what it's all about, folks. That's really what it's all about. It's simple, but yet complicated. Because it must be complicated because no one's doing it. These religions are all just growing and making money. Well, now they're doing payouts, but they're wealthy. These religions are wealthy. Don't kid you not. These religions have a lot of money, and people leave their estates over. It's all these people leaving all their money to these religions. Their kids get nothing. Jehovah's Witness kids, they give it all to Jehovah. It's brainwashing. So it's not complicated, but yet it's complicated. So we're going to end the show here. Folks, keep living your life with love. Everyone likes our dancing. I'm going to have to do some new dancing. But here's what I think. It's about the 2024 Shun No More. And I think that's what we have to dance about and keep pushing on that. And it will come. We will make it manifest. It will become real. So until next time, keep living your life with love. Bye for now.